Just to speak on it, a production of Retro Current Team, nonprofit here at Can TV. My name is Malik. Today is Friday, September 16th. We're going to get straight into it. But before we do, it's just a couple of things I want to say. It's amazing. And I would imagine some people other than Negroes or blacks or whatever you call it might pass over this show or even look at a piece of it. But I gotta say this. As I was driving to the studio, I looked again, and I've mentioned it here before. Over there in Inglewood, I'm just looking. And I was talking to a lady who's been over there 60 years. Her daddy and them was there, her and her kids and da-da-da. And she sit in a spot with her building, and there are 2 vacant lots next to her. She been trying to get them for years. You know, sometimes they let you have them for $1, sometimes for this, for that. She can't get nothing. Across the street, some invaders. Undocumented immigrants. How do you know? Because they ain't speaking no damn Spanish, and you can know for sure they ain't there, because some of us remember when they was, you know how they just come sit in the building and wait? That's what was happening. People were squatting in these buildings. And all of a sudden, damn near every one of those buildings on that strip, that block, has a house in the middle, because they tore down all them other houses for whatever reasons, and 2 vacant houses on the side. And all of them damn near got Spanish-speaking people in them. And the Spanish people got big old fences that you can't see into around the house and the 2 adjacent lots. Some of them running pulpwood type operations, where they got trees all in the lot, and they just, you know, like lumberjacks. I mean, they're doing all type of business. Negro can't sell a biscuit, can't get a lot. And here's somebody come and the daggone system give them a house for all practical purposes. They must be giving them the lots, because they got the lots fenced in. Why do this matter? This matters because at some point, at some point, that house and those 2 lots is money. So now here you are, invaded this country to that degree. You're illegal, undocumented, damn sure ain't no descendant of a slave. And now you sitting up like you some big aristocrat, but you just escaped where you was born, where your folks from. Not because the government was doing nothing to you. The Gaines wasn't doing no more to you than the Gaines doing to us. The government wasn't doing no more to you and where you coming from than the government's doing to the Negro. Yet you come here and get a free building, 2 vacant lots, and your damn kids will grow up millionaires. Why? Because you got all of this land for nothing. Yet my generations, they don't have the same advantage. And they descendants of slaves. Well, some of them. All my generation ain't descendants of slaves. I ain't gonna claim that. Some of us free Africans. Like I said before, because I saw Africans that mirrored me and mine over there that ain't never been over here. So don't think all of us was just, no, we all wasn't slaves. You know, we all are not just slave descendants. But the truth is, this whole system, particularly in Chicago, where when you go into these areas, these people come in, you don't never see no permits on their door, on no window, on no nothing. You understand? But let one of us, and you know when Emmanuel was in there and they started ripping off everybody with the back porches, your porch would be good and they make you tear it down and tell you whether it was built too long ago, now you got to put another $12,000 porch. You remember all that? Now these people's in there just building up everything, doing whatever they want, selling damn hot dogs for $6 in front of a school, and the dumb butt LSC and the people at the school community, they don't say nothing. Snow cones, they make it $1,500 a week or more. I'm looking. Because I've had to move in on a couple of occasions to stop them from getting hit. Because they didn't know what was happening. Dudes getting ready to roll. So I had to get visible. But I can't keep doing that, because sooner or later they're going to say, man, you interfering with our business, man. You getting in the way of our money. But the person that's doing it, she got this big old, look like hotel building. Now, I remember when it was vacant. Big old 2 lots in the back. All them big pretty trucks and shit. And every day they just milk the community. And all they got to do is sell snow cones and corn. Ain't that something? But the land they got, see, that's what I'm talking about. See, they got the land. And if they keep the land fenced in, or whatever way they got hold to it, because I can't fence in nothing. I can't fence in nobody else's property. A vacant lot next to me, I can't do nothing. Might not even be able to clean it unless they give me permission. I say that to say this. You got a damn mayor here and this thing governor. You know what they doing? They saying our sanctuary state and our sanctuary city, we gonna take our National Guard. We gonna run this thing, man. Let me not tell the people. Let the people hear from these creatures' mouths.
Darren Bailey spoke out about a deadly shooting that happened last night in Washington Park. The gubernatorial candidate expressed and addressed the rise in violent crime.
Tia Ewing joins us at the live desk with the latest. Tia.
Well, Don and Corey, Bailey is calling on and also calling out J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Lori Lightfoot to roll back what he calls their pro-criminal agenda, and says he is committed to making Chicago safer. This is all after 2 people are now dead and 7 others wounded after a shooting that took place in Washington Park Tuesday night. The city's top cop says this shooting was a personal conflict with gang ties. The argument started between 2 groups at around 7:45 in the evening at 55th and South King Drive. More than 40 shell casings were recovered on that scene. It's believed an automatic weapon was used in the shooting. Illinois Lieutenant gubernatorial candidate Stephanie Trussell says Chicago violence is out of control.
Real people, black people, are paying the price for J.B. Pritzker's radical, criminal, coddling policies.
JB, how many more black families have to mourn before you recognize that black lives really do matter? How many parents need to pick out caskets when they should be picking out clothes for school?
Shooting, no one is in police custody. Some victims are not cooperating with the investigation. A $15,000 reward is being offered for information on what unfolded. Dawn?
Tia, thank you.
Now they say, what the headline says is this, that Bailey is criticized for using Southside mass shooting as a moment of political theater. You see how the media, you see how the spin? He doing right. He telling the truth. And now you're saying he's using it as theater. Well, why don't you, Pritzker? Why don't you, Lightfoot? Why don't you use it as something other than to run from? I really wish, but Amari corrected me a while ago. I said, man, I hope Bailey could figure out a way Negroes would support him just to get rid of these clowns. I said, man, ain't nobody gonna beat no billionaire. He's a billionaire. I mean, he'll win because they brought me back to reality. But here this man is, Bailey, and I ain't gonna get into all that. But Bailey is telling the truth. And in a minute, you're going to see another one where Bailey has moved to Chicago and getting criticized. They say he should move to Washington Park. They say he should have been there where they got shot, laying on the damn bench in the park, huh? You know, you Negroes are some, y'all ought to be ashamed. You just keep trying to defend these people that's dogging you out. It is a shame that people are criticizing Bailey for telling the truth. It's the truth. If anything, you all should be trying to get with him and help him. Because maybe he would show you that black lives do matter, not only when the police kill a black, but when a black kill a black. Because Pritzker and Lightfoot done showed you it don't matter when nobody kill a black. When nobody get the advantage of free property or whatever way they get in the property. But we all know that it ain't fair that somebody can come here and say they can't speak English, and you see them in the neighborhood, you see their kids in the neighborhood, but you see them laying there with all that land and that house, that building. And you know somebody on the block has been trying, because everybody on the block ain't burnt up, ain't burnt out. Some folks still have resources where they could take those lots for their grandchildren and children. But then you are denied because you are a descendant of slaves here. But we did not invade the damn country. We didn't run from Africa because we just wanted to and had somebody here to give us free anything. You understand? And now these people coming, but they'll still be here. Dude the other night, he's scared. His mama he's from one of them countries. He black though. His mama just had her foot cut off, so she in bad shape. So he want to go. So he was telling me, that's because I'm standing on the corner, so people want to talk, so they talk. So he said, man, I'm really in a bad situation. I'm trying to get my paperwork in order because my mama woo-woo-woo, and my job, da-da-da-da. And he don't look like he's unaccomplished too much. He used to be a cop where he's from. But like I said, he's a black one. And he really believes in Jesus, the white one. Yeah, he do. He's just what they like. But he hadn't noticed his green card. He really thought God had blessed him because he had the green card and he didn't see an expiration date. But when the problem came up and he turned it over because he thought he could go home because he had been an American citizen for 30 years, it hit him in the face. The card expired 10 years ago. Damn, he didn't even know. So now he got to make that decision. Do I go see my mama who is dying or do I stay here? Because I know, he said it, if I go, I'll never get back over here. See? Because he knows. He's dark-skinned, but he speaks Spanish. You understand? But he knows if he ever, that's even if he can get out of this, because now he done brought attention to himself trying to get out of here to go see his mama. Now they got him doing all this paperwork. So now he's been exposed as a what? Undocumented resident. Been living here for 30-some years. And they can't wait to move on him. But then they got other ones just coming in. Just coming in. Come on in. We'll pay $200 a night for the next month or so until we can get you a free building in 2 lots. You understand? We'll just send a chauffeur down here with a Bentley to just drive you around because you speak Spanish. Or because you what you call it, Ukrainian or Afghan. Just don't be no dark skin. Hit this piece, brother.
A crime-ridden, corrupt, dysfunctional hellhole.
Well, it's a standard line in Darren Bailey's speeches as he campaigns for governor.
But now there is a twist. Our political editor, Mike Flannery, reports.
The Republican nominee for governor's long lived on a farm 250 miles south of Chicago. Today, State Senator Darren Bailey said during the campaign he's also been staying at an apartment on North Michigan Avenue.
I have immersed myself in the culture of Illinois that I knew nothing about because I know that I must do that if we're going to lead this state and make it the great state and the great city that it deserves to be.
Speaking on a West Loop sidewalk where he said 2 tourists were robbed at gunpoint, Bailey blamed increased crime on Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker. And Bailey referenced a bloody horror story franchise in which people kill each other with no legal consequences.
Chicago is living the purge. When criminals ravage at will and the cops are told to stand down.
Members of the General Assembly's Jewish caucus slammed Bailey's meeting with the Palestinian American Club of suburban Bridgeview. They seek to overturn a 2017 state law punishing companies who boycott Israel. And their map relabels Israel as Palestine.
The issue here is he stood in front of a map knowingly, willingly, intentionally, that explicitly wipes Israel off the map.
I strongly support Israel. I always have and I always will. But I will listen to everyone who wants to come to the table and talk.
Darren Bailey's move here is not a real surprise, whether or not he actually considers Chicago a hellhole. More than 2/3 of the state's voters live in this area, and as a candidate for governor, he'll have to spend a lot of time here between now and November 8th. I'm political editor Mike Flannery.
Now, I can see where some people that have a different type of experience where they live would say some things, but I don't know how no Negro in Chicago can be mad at anything Bailey is saying.
In order to arrest these offenders.
Everything that white man is saying sound like the truth. It would be nice if he was governor and Willie Wilson was mad. Y'all have a good time talking about how they talk, wouldn't you? Boy, y'all just have a whole lot to just run your mouths about. That's how petty you are. He sounds too Southern, and you say something, whatever you say about Dr. Wilson. But both of them, either one of them, not even in the position, either one of them would do better than the 2 you got in those positions now. Because the 2 you got in those positions now, you all act like you don't remember. They were just wannabes too. They wasn't no politicians. They were just 2 people, one with billions, so of course he got there. After a billionaire. And the other one just a gopher. They got mad at her boss. Understand? You act like. And they done had OJT for a full term now almost. And don't seem to have learned a damn thing, but we have learned a whole lot. That they have no business in those offices. Yeah, this is America, and I have the freedom of speech, and I am not talking about no individuals or calling their name. But I'd be damned if I don't say what I say. And here's a man here telling you what you live every day. You live in a hellhole of violence. And you want to sit here and talk about a political party. You need to get somebody that will realize and try to help you get out of the frying pan. That's what you need to do. Because what you're dealing with, these people have shown you in the last 3 weeks who their priority is. Sanctuary settlers or invaders in a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state. Descendants of slaves and others, immigrants, indentured servants. Biden wasn't joking when he made it clear that Negroes is obsolete and he was going to be catering to those that speak Spanish. Let's keep going. Let's go to the next. See, these are examples of the hellhole. I don't see the video on this one, so I might have got something here without the video. But this is the example of the hellhole that he's talking about. You at your house and these damn savages come up and see what they doing? You want to keep living like that? You think Pritzker or Lightfoot give a damn? They don't, because this is happening every day in the city of Chicago. And then you want to say this man is wrong for bringing things like this to your attention. This is the reality. This is what Negroes are living and white folks are living every day. And you want to hang on to two dysfunctional individuals just because they're there. Go on to the next one, brother, because we're running out of time. I hope you can find a video on this, because I tried and the video got away from me.
Learning that you had a
This piece here, Chicago Alderman, that's a hell of a headline. And Alderman decries city's intense crime wave. Why bother calling the police? Here it is, Alderman asked the question. A person down there that's supposed to be in a position of authority. He said, why bother calling the police? He said what Bailey is saying. This wave of violence. It's a hellhole. And I hear you Negroes all on the radio trying to defend what's going on. You can't defend them, y'all. Face reality. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk game, but when Trump was there, that border thing was on a different type of swing. But maybe y'all need to do these two, like you did Trump. Stomp him out. Maybe that's what you need to do. Let's move on. Run this. This is another example of the hellhole. Think about this 3-year-old boy and 8-year-old boy in their house. If that ain't a hellhole, what is? I don't know, I guess he's trying to clean that one up. Yeah. Another example. You all think the bad is trying to manipulate the headlines and the reality. No, I'm just showing them to you to amplify. To amplify the fact that when he say that hellhole, this ain't no theater. Ain't nothing to criticize, because he ain't lying. He ain't making it up. It's true. This is how you live. Those children in the house. All right, we can go to this one. Apparently those pieces ain't coming up. Let's go on with the purge or whatever you got here.
As of January 1st, 2023, the following things will go into effect, and people need to be aware of this. It abolishes cash bail for almost every offense. This includes, but isn't limited to, kidnapping, armed robbery, second-degree murder, drug-induced homicide, aggravated DUI, threatening a public official, and aggravated fleeing and eluding. Offenders released on electronic monitoring have to be in violation for 48 hours before law enforcement can act. They could almost drive to Alaska before we can even look for them. It denies victims their constitutional rights. And keep this in mind, businesses and homeowners. Officers will no longer be able to remove trespassers from your residence or your businesses. Someone could decide to live in your shed, and all we can do is give them a ticket. You have to decide what level of force is required to remove them and whether or not it's legal.
Now, let me say this. This piece here, those other pieces, dude, he's using language, but he's a white man. Play it, Amari, play it. I ain't saying it. Let them hear what he's saying. This is what white folks talking about. Why Negroes on these radio shows and other places trying to use euphemisms. Oh, safety. And they got these Negroes out here trying to reinterpret what the law gonna mean. These white folks are telling their people exactly what the law means. You're gonna be in worse than a hellhole. Now listen to this white boy here, and I hope they let us
If you don't know, now you know. You better pay attention, because in Chicago, starting January 1st, 2023, guess what? Second-degree murder, kidnapping, any of these things are no longer detainable. They will no longer put these people in fucking jail. They will arrest them, take them to court, book them, and let them go. Cash bond no longer exists in Chicago after January 1st, 2023. The purge is here, people. Illinois is going to be the new crime capital of the world. You better fucking pay attention and stop calling me a conspiracy theorist.
Now listen. See, the language a little bit, so put your kid to bed. Hell, he had worse than that anyway. But the bottom line is, we running around here, Negroes, man, y'all need to stop being stupid. You running around here
2023, the following things
trying
will go
to
into
act like it ain't what it is. White people on their radio and TV station, that was the sheriff, one of the sheriffs, the first one. And that was another dude, commentator, or whatever he was. They letting their people know what's happening. And you getting your people to lay back and think that because they killed George Floyd, this is just some police reform. Come on now. These folks here are telling their people what's going to happen. And they're telling their people the truth. You damn Negro functionaries and politicians, stop lying to people. Safety Act? You don't need no more safety acts. That thing sound like it's going to empower them even more than the power they got now. You can read it. You go online and read it for yourself. Because it's up there, but you ain't going to be able to read it from here. I'm not wasting no time up there because you ain't going to read it up there. Go find it. The man had a point. And everybody talked about it here. Somebody can walk up on your property, decide to move in your garage. You can't get the police to take them out. You can't take them out. And if they decide to leave because they want to leave for that moment, they come back, they can't. Police ain't going to be able to put them in there and get a bail on them. Because now they can just do what the hell they want to do with your property. Why? If you don't have money for bail, you understand? You don't want a person to have bail, then you shouldn't take your ASS to jail. So now you saying they won't have no bail. How foolish can you get? So now a person can come in your store or whatever you got, break into your car or whatever you got, do a whole bunch of things. And then the police come, they might be able to give them a ticket. Amari, play that piece again so they can hear this policeman say what they can do. They might be able to give them a ticket. But then the ticket, he gonna ball it up like he do everything else, and he gonna throw it on the ground. He gonna laugh at you, gonna jump on you, probably burn up your house, intimidate you because you called the police. But he ain't in jail. So now you done called the police because he did you wrong. He committed a crime against you. You called the police, but they can't do nothing. They can't even lock him up because the law says he's more important. His rights, his inability to get out because of bail, he won't be locked up. But your inability to be safe from him, well, that's your business. How did society get to this? You know what I'm saying? This is insane. You say, well, you just exaggerating. No, I'm not exaggerating. Listen to this damn law enforcement officer. He reading it off the script. Run that again, Mara.
As of January 1st, 2023, the following things will go into effect, and people need to be aware of this. It abolishes cash bail for almost every offense. This includes, but isn't limited to, kidnapping, armed robbery, second-degree murder, drug-induced homicide, aggravated DUI, threatening a public official, and aggravated fleeing and eluding. Offenders released on electronic monitoring have to be in violation for 48 hours before law enforcement can act. They could almost drive to Alaska before we can even look for them. It denies victims their constitutional rights. And keep this in mind, businesses and homeowners. Officers will no longer be able to remove trespassers from your residence or your businesses. Someone could decide to live in your shed, and all we can do is give them a ticket. You have to decide what level of force is required to remove them and whether or not it's legal.
Now watch what happens. You have to decide what level of force is required. But once you decide that, you now become a criminal. You were just a citizen. But once you decide to lay hands on this creature, once you decide to shoot this bastard, now you going to jail. You see? What the hell? You know, then you got you little parakeets running around here trying to spin it another way. That man, he know what the hell he read. He know what he talking about. You the one that don't know what you talking about. Just running around on the radio, running your damn mouth. Things gonna be better. They ain't gonna, I mean, look here. The only thing I see this morning, I started using for the program. Kim Fox finna, press charges against a sergeant and a policeman that some type of shooting back in 2018. Yeah. You can lock up law enforcement. Yeah. Yeah. I bet they're gonna have a problem. But how many of these real criminals whose job it was not to have a gun and possibly kill somebody, and there's a question, and you say, well, we need to make them criminals. We take their job, I don't know what color the cops were. I don't know none of that. But I know, yeah, the police have done some bad things. They do some bad things. But I doubted the police. You understand me? It's causing as much havoc as these criminals that's on monitors that are being let go over and over and over. And come January the 1st, 2023, you're going to need a new mayor. You're going to need a new governor. Because these two here, and then the next year, you know you're going to need a new state's attorney. Because what you got here, this hellhole, it's going to get hotter. Next piece, brother. The piece about these immigrants.
The sex traffickers are coming over. Yeah. They're saying they don't care to the people who are coming through Mexico who are being raped on a daily basis. They don't care. They don't even bother to go down there and see it. They don't bother to discuss what are the plans to be able to stop it. It's not until people who have supported the Democratic Party, like Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago, start speaking about it that they will actually even address it. And then you think about what's going on in those cities. The increase in crime that we're seeing, the increase in deaths that we're seeing, that has to be addressed because you're right. It used to be border states. Now every single country, every single state in this country is a border state. And you know what? If we have to have buses that are going to those states and going to those cities to prove it, you know, it's amazing what happens when it's in your own backyard.
Think about it. Boy, you know, Negro, please, wake up. These other people, they see it for what it is. It's a mess. Wake up, Negro. Don't go to the polls and vote for the folks that don't look out for your best interests. Man, this thing is out of
I invest in Invesco QQQ, a fund that gives me...
You gotta know this. Where is this fentanyl coming from? Mexico and China. Those people that's giving these people the money to get here, those people are doing illegal business, and some of these people no more than mules and donkeys bringing in that dope. They can't bring in enough, but there's a distraction. But thousands of pounds of deadly stuff is coming here, and the borders are wide open, and now they're shipping them from all over the country. They sending them from down south, now they dropping them all over the place. All right, Amara, what we got here?
She sounded upset, and she should be. I seen Chad Wolf earlier said he was hot and bothered. He should be. He should be angry. But I wake up every day, Jason, pissed off because I've served this country. I wore that green uniform. I was a special agent for decades. I've investigated these organizations that smuggle and trafficking women and children, that smuggle drugs, smuggle guns. I've held dying children in my hand, in my arms. I've talked to girls as young as 11 years old that got raped multiple times. What no one's talking about, what we're talking about here on this show tonight, is the number of migrants that have died since Joe Biden became president. Over 1,200 migrants have died. 1,200 deaths on U.S. soil since Joe Biden became president. Over 100,000 Americans dying of fentanyl overdoses. This is tragic. It gets me angry every day because when you see what I've seen in 35 years, you understand secure borders save lives. And for them to attack me and the Trump administration saying our policies inhumane, when we had illegal immigration on a 40-year low, it was down 83%. How many women weren't being raped? How many people didn't die of drug overdoses because the drugs weren't thrown across the border like they are now? How many migrants didn't die? How many children didn't drown in the river? So I am angry every day because this administration opened the border up. It's causing massive death and pain to not only Americans, but migrants. And someone in the White House should care about that.
He said it all. And I don't want to be redundant. It's serious business. Negroes, snap out of it. get angry like the rest of these people. Change doing things as you are doing them. Nearly 2 million invaders have come here since this Biden administration has been in office. Nearly 2 million. And you just heard this man. And look at you, Negro. You can't even get a peanut. They taking what you could have got. They won't consider giving you reparations, but they will take somebody that just decided this is what they wanted to do. You would like to go somewhere for a better life, but where can you go? Where can one of us say, well, I can't get a job in Chicago, I'm tired, I think I just walk on across the border, I'll go to Indiana. And they're going to give you a hotel room in a $200 hotel just because you just decided to invade Indiana, huh? Come on. Well, what's going on here? Last week we saw out in Bell Ridge where Lightfoot done sent those people out there without talking to those people, and they had to put them in hotels. But where can you go, Negro? And somebody going to put you. You just got out of the military. You got some mental issues. You got some health issues. But you living not even in a box. You living at the bus stop. You understand? You can't live in the vacant property no more because they got cameras everywhere. So you can't get nowhere to stay because you don't have the resources and maybe you got health problems or whatever. And a lot of them got honorable discharges. They homeless. They damn near helpless. They hungry. They naked. But this administration, this mayor, this governor don't see them as a priority. But somebody can just come here that want to. And this governor can get the National Guards and unlock other resources. Come on, brother, let's deal with it.
Staff to President George W. Bush and Joe Concha, media and politics columnist for The Hill. Both are Fox News contributors. Gentlemen, great to have both of you with us. Carl, let me start with you. Great images of the president in some fancy-looking EVs and charging stations that he wants to build across the country. Is that a winner for him politically?
Well, a minor winner, but whatever advantage he gained from that, he lost by the stupid event yesterday celebrating the so-called Inflation Reduction Act on a day that inflation went up. And what did the president say? He was asked, are you worried about it going up? And he said, well, it's only 0.1% of 1%. No, it's actually 8.3% year over year. In fact, energy is up 23.8%, shelter up 6.2%, food up 11.4%. Nancy Pelosi showed up at the thing and said, we are lowering the cost of kitchen table items for American families. Meat, poultry, and fish and eggs are up 10.6%, dairy up 16.2%. Fruit and vegetables up 9.4%. I wonder what kitchen table items she's talking about. Maybe it's something at one of those luxury home goods stores in Napa Valley, because it's not the ordinary American family.
Joe, mostly this Inflation Reduction Act, which doesn't really touch anything in terms of lowering costs until deep into the next couple of years, has a lot of green energy initiatives in it. It has some reductions in healthcare in terms of prescription drugs that also don't kick in for some time. But this is sort of the story, and they're absolutely sticking with it. Your thoughts?
It's completely out of touch, to Carl's point, Martha. I mean, it's completely off the grid, actually, in terms of voter priorities. As Jackie pointed out earlier in a report, when you look at Gallup and you see that inflation and economy dwarf everything else like they do in every other election, pretty much. And the thinking here resides in a fantasy world as far as, just if everybody could get an electric car, then we could help cure the climate. The average cost of an electric car hit $66,000 last month. That's a 13% increase year over year because there's this thing called 40-year high inflation. And we keep being told, well, electric car costs, they're going to keep coming down. But the opposite is actually happening. So the question bears repeating. How the heck does the average person afford to buy an electric car? You look at the average median income, okay, after taxes in this country. If they worked an entire year, they still can't afford to buy the average electric car. So Republicans should hammer this point home, because this administration is pushing a financial impossibility for an overwhelming majority of Americans. pipelines while they're canceling oil lease after oil lease in the Gulf or off the coast of Alaska, stripping us of energy independence while forcing places like Europe to depend on Russian oil. It's all bad, and this should be a central focus in the midterms if Republicans are smart, Martha.
So let's pull up this chart, the change in CPI for major cities, and you can see that in some of the areas where we've seen the fastest growth in the consumer price index, they are states that are important and where there are Senate races. You've got Arizona, Georgia, Florida at the top of that list, and also Philadelphia is on the list as well. In Pennsylvania, up 8.1%. But to Joe's question, Carl, what are Republicans offering in terms of an inflation reduction package that they feel would actually be effective in lowering prices in the short term?
Well, first of all, stop the spending. We have we've got a giveaway on student loans that's going to cost between $519 billion and $1 trillion. We've got the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, whose price tag is variously about $435 billion and up. I mean, stop the spending. The best thing the government can do is stop adding to the demand. Inflation is too much money chasing too few goods, and we have pumped between the American Rescue Plan and these other things literally several $1 trillion of demand in the economy within basically a year and a half. So the first thing is stop the unnecessary spending. And tell the American people the truth. I mean, when the President of the United States says everything is okay and has James Taylor out there, singing Fire and Rain, I mean, rather than a ballad about suicide and addiction and grief, maybe he should have done one of his other numbers, one of my favorites, It's Only a Paper Moon. It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be, but it would not be make-believe if you believed in me. That's what they're trying to sell, is a phony view of the world as it is, and it's going to disconnect them from the voters, and they'll suffer accordingly at the polls.
Well, that's enough of that, Omar, because, Negroes think that's fake news anyway because they see CNN, they see Fox News. See, that's because that other media done fooled y'all. You know that what you just saw, you know that what you just heard was not created as fake news just to fool the Negro. It wasn't. Those white people are telling their people the truth. And you discount the truth. And all I'm saying, not really that I care about what you do or don't, because it really ain't none of mine. You know what I mean? It ain't my problem. But since, and I'm going to use this word, since I have this calling to use some energy that the Creator gave me to do what you see me doing, I'm doing that. And yes, today I see a lot of white folks are amplified like me. A lot of us amplified. We amplified because it's a serious matter. And these Democrats that you done put in office here, you got to change it. I ain't telling you to vote Republican because I don't know where I'm at on that. Independent. I know they done created an independent party. A couple of people done created it. I don't know how they're going to get that on the ballot soon enough for folks to get ready for these next elections. Maybe they can't. But you got to do something different. You can't just keep voting for folks because they Democrats, y'all. Democrats, man, they destroying the country. They done already destroyed you, Negro. You ain't got no hope. You ain't got no self-respect. You just a damn modern slave for the most part, particularly those that was elected, are elected. Next piece, let's move on to this local stuff so we can get out of here. Just a good piece right here. Lightfoot.
That group arrived yesterday at O'Hare Airport.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot now demanding the federal government step in as more Republican governors make good on promises to ship migrants out of their states. Griff Jenkins has the latest now from D.C.
Two buses from Texas carrying dozens of migrants arrived Thursday morning near Vice President Kamala Harris's home in Washington, D.C., most of them from Venezuela. It's the latest effort by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who has sent thousands of migrants to Democratic-led cities like D.C., New York, and Chicago, arguing his state is overwhelmed with southern border crossings. Border Patrol officials say they've encountered more than 2 million migrants this year at the border.
It's open because we enter, we come in, free, no problem.
In Massachusetts, 2 planes with illegal immigrants landed at Martha's Vineyard, courtesy of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
We are not a sanctuary state, and it's better to be able to go to a sanctuary jurisdiction. And yes, we will help facilitate that transport for you to be able to go to greener pastures.
Massachusetts Republican governor said local officials provided them with short-term shelter services. Democratic leaders are outraged, calling the moves inhumane and demanding the federal government step in to help.
It is a manufactured crisis by ambush. Any dollar that goes to the state of Texas or the state of Arizona, every single one of those dollars needs to be committed to cities like Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C.
Governor Abbott says the buses will keep rolling out of Texas, adding he's trying to bring some relief to his state's overrun border towns. In Washington, Griff Jenkins, Fox 32, Chicago.
Nah, you saw it. Oh, that piece down there talking about DeSantis, Amari, you can disregard that because that was enough. The one, number 13, Florida Governor DeSantis sent 2 planes to Martha Vineyard. Just strike that off the list because that was actually spoken in that particular video. Now, but let me say this before we go to the next piece that's coming after Lightfoot. Now we finna look at, this is another example of the hypocrisy Lightfoot and this dude Trexler. Now, Lightfoot just likes to slam the governor of Texas. And she don't seem to be able to see it in her heart or her mind or in her eyes that maybe she should ask Pritzker for some help from the National Guard. But check this. The same thing they're accusing Governor Abbott from Texas of doing, they doing. Last week we saw it in Burr Ridge. Show that piece about the mayor in Elk Grove Village, Amari. Show that piece and just see how big of a hypocrite this person Lightfoot is.
Loads of money. This noon, Governor Pritzker issues a disaster proclamation and activates members of the Illinois National Guard to deal with the busloads of migrants being sent to Illinois from Texas. Sally Schelsey is live now at the State of Illinois building, and she has developments. Sally, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Roseanne. We just heard from people on all levels of government, state, county, city, kind of an all hands on deck moment that we really haven't seen since some of the toughest days of the pandemic. They were here today with this news conference to show support for the migrants arriving in this city and also to unveil this new plan to deal with the increasing numbers. Another bus arrived overnight. That's the 11th bus that has come to Chicago so far. We are told that so far about 500 migrants have arrived in the Chicago area in the past 14 days. They are being sent from the Texas border without any official word, apparently, from the government of Texas. That means the city and the state, they've had between 3 and 12 hours heads up to figure out things like food, healthcare, transport, and housing for these migrants. So now Governor Pritzker issued an emergency disaster proclamation. This will free up resources for the statewide response. He also activated approximately 75 members of the Illinois National Guard to help out with this. And from the governor on down, they are blaming Texas Governor Greg Abbott for what Mayor Lightfoot says is a manufactured crisis. Pritzker calls it a political stunt. Listen to what they had to say.
I'm not going to mince words here. The governor of Texas is forcing on New York and D.C. and Chicago and potentially other places a needlessly last-minute and complex process that is a heartless display of politics over people.
Now, Governor Abbott doesn't see the humanity in any of these people, but we do. And I think you heard that directly from Governor Pritzker. And we dare not lose sight of the fact that these are our brothers and sisters, that these folks have a right to be in the country, and that we have an obligation as a result of that to make sure that we stand up and provide support for them.
Now, we had heard some criticism earlier from a couple of suburban mayors who said they didn't get heads up that migrants were being brought to hotels in their communities. Lightfoot said she had discussions with those mayors. She says overall they're all working on their communication on this, really emphasizing today that this state, this city are welcoming communities, but that this is not going to be easy. Governor Pritzker says they are looking into whether anything illegal about this, what's happening with the governor of Texas sending these people here. They are also seeking federal help to pay for this. Again, Chicago's received about 500 migrants. They say they're expecting a lot more. To put it in perspective, New York so far has received 11,000 migrants. We are at the State of Illinois building live. Sally Schulze, Fox 32, Chicago.
And that puts it in perspective. All right. Thank you, Sally.
You see that? Boy, she was just so passionate about that. He was too. But yet, people are dying in Chicago that's been here, trying to raise their children. All type of, suffering is with the citizens. And these two here, 75 National Guard, 500 people to do what? What's up with that? We know. Those two, it's pathetic. But find that Elk Grove piece because I want people to see how they got their snake tongue flopping. Now, why he clearing this up? Now remember what they were saying. Remember how they talked toward the governor of Texas. Now listen at this. Last week we showed you a mayor. Now listen to this mayor. This mayor, the mayor last week, he was a recent mayor. He's a second generation immigrant. This one here, I don't know what he is, but he seemed like a regular old wasp. He been here a long time, seemed like he probably one of them original immigrants. Listen to him and his experience.
Right now, the mayor of Elk Grove Village is calling out Mayor Lori Lightfoot after 2 CTA buses filled with migrants from Texas arrived in that northwest suburb. CBS 2's Sade Gray tells us why the situation turned tense today.
The Illinois Department of Human Services says their goal is to make sure these migrants are in a safe haven with food, water, and shelter. The mayor of Elk Grove agrees, but he says he's frustrated because he wasn't notified.
Why are they coming to Elk Grove? Why not Chicago?
It's a question Mayor Craig Johnson, Village of Elk Grove, has been trying to get answers to since Friday afternoon.
Unfortunately, it's more of what we have not been told.
Johnson says the state reached out to the village Friday, letting them know 90 migrants will be coming from Texas on a bus. It was unclear what time they would be in the suburb and where they would stay.
We started doing some homework. The state of Texas has no clue where Elk Grove Village is. They were not going to Elk Grove Village, they're going to the city of Chicago. She wants to proudly say politically, I'm a sanctuary city, I welcome you open arms, but when reality checks and 5 busloads shows up in her city, she can't handle them. So let's give them to Elk Grove Village. That's wrong.
A few days ago, dozens of migrants were sent to a hotel in Burr Ridge. Mayor Gary Grasso sent an updated statement today saying, until late Friday, neither the governor's office, Cook County, nor the city of Chicago reached out to the village.
We're not against migrants. We're not against helping them, but we should work together. Our frustration is no advanced knowledge, no involvement in communications discussing how we can handle this.
We reached out to the Illinois Department of Human Services about the lack of communication. We're told they're working on a minute-by-minute situation and their priority is to house, clothe, and feed these refugees. When asked why they didn't notify Elk Grove, they put the blame on Governor Abbott.
He's been saying for weeks he's going to send busloads of people to Chicago. For them to say we were unprepared for this is not talking with a straight tongue.
Sources familiar with this matter are calling this a crisis mode, saying this is an urgent situation. Reporting in Elk Grove, Sade Gray, CBS 2 News.
We reached out to the Chicago Department of Family and Support Services to ask about migrants being sent to surrounding suburbs and if that will continue. We also reached out to Mayor.
Because I'm looking at the other piece where the news person was cleaning it up, and she right. The arrogance of the state and the city, the news people try to get some information, and they treat them just like they treat the Negro or descendant of slaves. We don't have to tell you nothing. We ain't gonna tell you a damn thing. We doing this and da 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 da. We can say what we want to say and you believe what we tell you to believe. But now, you just saw her, you just saw Pritzker. He can now come on with a proclamation of disaster. Where at? For who? What disaster? These people just came. They were sent here. And now you got the National Guard and you want some more money and you just want to act like, but yet people are living here every day. Every day, suffering. And ain't done nothing wrong. Ain't did nothing but try to be citizens. Where's your disaster for minimum aid resources? Where is it for those that are worthy that's coming out of the joint? You heard me say worthy, yeah, because a lot of them niggas need to stay in the joint. You let them out here and they go back and do the same thing and kill other people. You need a better system before you let people into the community, particularly now that you got these damn no bail systems getting ready to put in place. And don't say a damn thing about what I'm talking about. I've been there. I know about being a offender. So I don't want to hear none of that. Man, you be nigga, please. When you do your time like I did mine, then you can talk. But I'm saying, if you don't want to go to jail, if you don't want to pay bail, then keep your ass out of jail. I never made bail. I stayed until it was over with. And now you're going to change the whole system and you just letting people out here to dog the rest of the people? No. Even those of us that are real ex-offenders from back in the day, we know what's right. And we know that what you're doing now is BS. Whoever sold Kim Fox or bought Kim Fox and all these other Negroes they got in these spots to be letting this stuff go on like that, those of us that know, we know that ain't how you deal with this. It ain't. You have to have some order. You have to have some structure. You can't just let people victimize other people. You can't. Because they would use you up. They would eat the other people up. That's what they are. They're predators. These revolving door criminals are predators. They will come, and once the police don't lock them up, once the police don't put them somewhere, well, the judge can do this and that, the judge ain't going to do a damn thing because they ain't doing nothing now. So what happens is you're going to unleash some people on a society, and if the person make a decision to defend their own property, to defend their family, then they become a criminal, and then what? But yet the criminal that kicked it off, this sucker, is still in the hood. Come on, y'all. Yeah. I'm bringing it like this because it's too serious to play with y'all. Come on, man.
3-year pause, and a lot of people are still celebrating. It was a bit wet, of course, due to all the rain, but the party isn't over because Mexican Independence Day is this Friday, September 16th. Chicago police say they are prepared for spontaneous celebrations this weekend as hundreds or perhaps thousands of cars perhaps gather in any particular area of the city, including downtown.
We will focus on enforcement. We're not going to let people take over the corners. We will focus anyone, with the drifting and drag racing or unlawful covering of the plates. We will impound those vehicles and tow them.
Chief McDermott said they'll follow up to identify cars engaged in street takeovers and stunt driving if that happens.
You know what I don't understand about this, particularly this group? Man, you got all of this patriotism towards your country. You love your country so damn much. Why you over here? It ain't like the Negro. We got snatched and forced over here. But you want to celebrate, go home. I mean, what the hell? You got these flags, and that's cool. But if a Negro put a flag this big in his window, the police give him a ticket talking about he's obstructing something. Here you are got a flag bigger than your car, and it ain't on you. It's on this system. You understand? But I'm telling y'all, find something else. Now, it's two things. Omari, these are going to be the last pieces. this piece about these female football coaches, you got that one. But there's another piece where you look down that line, and there's a piece where this woman, middle-aged woman, is in a
26
store
seconds to go.
and prepare to show that. But let's do this thing with this football.
Oh, but it's been so much fun to watch these coaches in action. They cheer each other on, they're friends. And I mentioned they cheer each other on, but not for this game. They are competitors, but they're hoping that when people see them out on the field, that girls are inspired to get in the game.
It's a history-making matchup. Two female high school football coaches facing off against each other at Gately Stadium. The first time in the country, according to the Illinois High School Association.
I'm here to support two African-American women.
DuSable High School head football coach Konisha Ray is the second woman to coach football in the Chicago Public League. This school year, Finger High School head coach Jocelyn Mayfield became the third woman to lead a CPL football team, with some encouragement from Ray. Today, Mentor and Mentee are competitors. We caught up with each coach at practice Wednesday.
This is the first time I can look across the field and see a me. That means something.
Win or lose, she and I both wins in this competition.
Mayfield and Ray say their interest in football goes back to childhood.
I've always loved the game. I've played the game.
I was visiting my aunt in Harvey one day, and I was the only girl around. The boys wanted to go to the corner of 157th and Lexington and play, and I joined them and fell in love with the game.
Back to the game, DuSable fan Anthony Brooks had to make a break from his wife and son. They're all graduates of Finger.
They might not be going home together tonight, depending on the outcome of this game. Hoping that we win. I'm not saying that Titans might lose, but I'm hoping that they win.
If they win, he's going to be going home alone. You hear that? Halftime just wrapped up, so the second half is about to start. For longtime football fans, this is exciting to watch. This will be a game that they will never forget. And it's also important to note that there is also a female ref officiating the game. We're live on the South Side. Will Jones, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
That's a great night out there, Will. That's for sure, and you're enjoying it. And they got history all over.
That is so feel good, Shane. Now I want to say this, and I don't give, and take it when you want to take it. Finger, notorious for a lot of things.
Well, keeping your brain healthy could be as simple as taking a daily multivitamin. That's according to a first-of-its-kind study released today by the
Black
Alzheimer's
men
Association.
have tried to be involved and been involved. My question is this, and I support what you just saw. My question is this, and we heard this question in the black community for years. Now, very few places around the school where some boys have exposure to men, discipline, structure, etc. See, a man and a boy learn things in sports that's unique to that experience, just like a female and a woman learn things. Now, I know a female and a woman the same thing, but I mean a girl and a woman. Now, part of the problem with the Negro, the boys running wild. You mean to tell me, for a school like DuSable, there ain't no damn black men that could coach them kids in football? How to be a man, how to take orders from a man, how to have a man to holler at you, because your mama already hollering at you. She already kicking you behind. You get an opportunity on the football field with a male to get what you ain't getting from no other man. But CPS can't see that with their dumb ass. Same for girls. I don't know where you people get it from. I ain't never been able to understand it. Why would you want a man coaching girls in anything sport related? It's unnatural. Don't tell me about he's be up. That ain't the point. It's unnatural. That's a female, use a male. There are natural things that go on with each one of those groups. You don't need to be in the presence of a child or adult. You a man and she's a female. You don't. That ain't the role of nature. But y'all just turning stuff upside down. Men coaching girls in volleyball, in dance. Y'all stupid as hell. Now you got these females, and that's what everybody talking about, coaching some boys at 2 schools that really need male men on that football field, helping them dudes in them communities learn how to respond to somebody when their voice is elevated and when they are told to do something. As a man, a woman hollering at a boy ain't the same as a man hollering at a boy. And a football environment is good for that. Yeah, I took that opportunity to say all of this because y'all act like you don't understand. It's a complicated issue. And for you all to keep just doing stuff that don't make sense. Football is one of the few things that boys and men get to really learn how to deal. I remember I was playing football. Yeah. I was one of them dudes that, you had to sort of like, I didn't just submit to you because you was grown. Damn you, who is you? So I know what's up with these young bloods. That ain't it. But then when you go to the military or when you on a football team or you was a boxer or something, you begin to learn how to adapt. And one of the things that ain't happening with young boys out here now and girls is that you got the wrong people in front of them. Men should be in front of men, boys. Women should be in front of females, girls, period. Next piece, brother. Did you find that piece with that woman in Family Dollar? The reason I wanted you to show that is because of the fact that
a multivitamin could protect or improve.
Well, keeping your brain healthy could be as simple as taking a daily multivitamin. That's according to a first-of-its-kind study released today by the Alzheimer's Association.
Health reporter Stephanie Saul is here with details on what doctors are calling shocking as well as exciting.
It really is, guys. You know, the ability to slow cognitive decline by almost 2 years with a multivitamin, that could be pretty significant. And while more research is needed, doctors say this is a critical first step.
Diane Lowe is healthy and active. At age 79, she's an avid skier and walks 5 miles a day. She was eager to be part of a study testing whether a multivitamin could protect or improve her brain health.
With lots of friends dealing with either dementia or Alzheimer's, it was certainly a motivator. The more we learn about the health issues and how we can better take care of ourselves, the better we all are.
The research found for people 65 and over, after 3 years of taking a daily multivitamin, there was a 60% slowing of cognitive decline.
This was a shocking discovery.
Christina Francel is with the Delaware Valley chapter of the Alzheimer's Association.
Knowing that a dietary supplement could be a part of helping reduce risk could have significant public health impact in terms of just managing the disease, helping those caregivers reduce that burden.
The exact connection between multivitamins and brain health is unclear, but researchers say they could replace micronutrients and minerals needed for brain function that are depleted with aging.
People with reported cardiovascular disease appear to benefit even more.
Doctors say more research is needed before multivitamins are recommended for preventing cognitive decline. But Diane will continue taking them and staying active.
I take no medication of any kind now, except I do take my multivitamin. I continued with that. I'm physically active, mentally active.
And that study also looked at taking a cocoa extract. Researchers thought chocolate might be as protective as a multivitamin, but it wasn't. There were no cognitive benefits linked to cocoa, unfortunately. We have more information on this new research and other Alzheimer's resources for you, cbsphiladelphia.com. If this pans out, though, this could be pretty significant for sure. Right?
Indeed.
Multivitamin.
How about that?
Take
no
it.
cocoa.
No cocoa. Well, that could be just for fun.
Right. Thanks, Stephanie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I shared that because of the fact that I'm one of those senior citizens. But I'm fortunate because for a long time in life, I've been taking multiple vitamins. And I thought that was a good piece. Because I know our people sometimes, they only take an aspirin or something like that, or they prescribe some medicine. But sometimes you gotta listen to these people. As we age, things change. And I think you just got to understand, and that's why periodically I'm going to bring a piece like that, because people need to at least be exposed to it. If there's a vitamin you can take, now some of those brain vitamins are very, very expensive. But then there are some other ones that whatever. Do your own research, you know what I mean? Go to the health food store or whatever. But you might want to do that if you want to be here a little longer. But a lot of y'all don't want to be here that much longer. I want to be here as long as I'm in good shape and da-da-da-da-woo-woo. But, you know, it ain't all what they used to build it up to be. It used to be you look forward to being an elder, to being a senior citizen. But now, this system has turned into such a I don't want to use nothing negative, but I don't know what to call it. They don't give a damn about senior citizens now. They really don't. There's no respect, no appreciation in many places, and too many senior citizens don't have enough. But if you want to be here, that's why I ran that piece there. For those of y'all who want to be here. If you don't want to be here, just keep doing what you're doing and bet you won't. Till next week, I love you. Peace and good health.